Let us start Sahi using startsahi.bat. We now configure Internet Explorer to use Sahi as its proxy. In LAN settings, we add localhost 9999 as the HTTP and secure proxies. We now record a simple script using the Sahi controller. We go to the record tab, enter a script name and click record. After that, all functionality that we do, all actions that we do on the browser are recorded automatically. These steps are visible in the recorded steps tab, and we can keep working on the browser and all these steps will be recorded. We want to assert that the total of the books that we have added comes to 1550. If you press the control key and hover over any element, the accessors are populated in the controller. If we click assert, we get the values, the assertion values that are available. We can change the assertions to see if it breaks correctly, and once we are satisfied, we can use the append to script button to add these lines to the script. We see that on append to script, the recorded steps show the assert statements. Let's log out. To playback the recorded script, we go to the playback tab, choose the file, set the URL, and then play it. To view the logs, we click on the logs link. It takes us to a list of all the logs that are available. Click on the link we want, and we see that all the assertions show up in green. When we click through on an assertion, it takes us to the line. We now configure Firefox to use Sahi as its proxy. We choose manual proxy configuration and set localhost 9999 as HTTP proxy and SSL proxy. Make sure that no proxy for is empty. Just to make sure, let us play back the same script on Firefox. We shall now edit the script that we just recorded and make a change to the assertion such that it fails. We shall then look at the failed script. So we change 1550 to 1560 so that we know that it will fail. So let us save it and then close the editor. When we play back this modified script, we should see that the test fails on that particular line where it says assert equal 1560. So we see that the actual value is 1550 and we are asserting for 156. So it shows a failure. We can now view the logs. It shows us the actual and expected values, and if we click through it, we see the line which actually caused the error in the script. Some recorded scripts become hard to maintain because the identification of elements are based on index. In this case, we see that there are 3 text boxes all identified by index. Now, in order to make the script maintainable, we need to identify the text box relative to some other element. So here we hover over core Java, and once it is identified, click on the anchor button. Now if we hover over the text box, we see that it is identified as text box Q near core Java. Now that makes it much easier to maintain and refactor later. So similarly, we can do it for Ruby for Rails. We click the anchor button and then mouse over the text box. It shows us text box Q near Ruby for Rails. We shall now see how we can refactor our scripts into constants and functions and with the correct parameters being passed using just our script editor. We choose the first three lines of a script, which basically denote the login part, and click on refactor. This extracts all the parameters and the constants, and if we give it a name of login and click on continue, we see that the login function has been created. Similarly, we can do the same thing for add books. We give the correct parameter names, and if we click continue, we see that two functions have been created, add books and login, and they have been invoked correctly with the correct parameters. Similarly, we can do for some verify total and for logout. This lets us easily separate out our functionality into functions which can be reused. We can also break these different functions and constants into other files and then include them into your script. We are now looking at the logs of a refactored script. When we click through, it takes us to the exact line of code. Now this makes it easy for us to debug and fix any errors if there are any.